Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back to a fantastic game of StarCraft 2. In the blue colors playing for Basilisk, it is Serral here in the bottom right of Babylon. And in the top left of Babylon, a player for the Shopify Rebellion. In the red colors, it is of course Byun, the only Terran player for that team, at least as far as I'm aware. Pool first coming out of Serral. Alright. So what's the play here, Mr. Sotala? Mr. Yona Sotala. Pool first, wants to send a couple of these links across the map most likely. Try and deal some damage with those. Byun, of course, known to be a player there that doesn't necessarily always SCV scouts. No, he doesn't mind doing it every now and again, but a lot of the time also skips the scouting step. CC first, not uncommon for him either. So, yeah, I'm kind of curious what Serral exactly is thinking he's playing against, what he thinks he's playing against, but also just how he wants to proceed from here on, depending, of course, what Byun will do. It's not going to be a scout, as this SCV will just straight up walk in towards the natural. Reaper as the first unit and 2 links coming out as a follow-up. So this is not a major investment here out of Serral. This is a relatively minor investment even. It's only 2 links. Will not be capable of dealing a whole lot of damage, but hopefully still get something done. I also believe this is kind of a fake pool first, which usually is meant to be scouted, but there's no scout coming out of Byun, so I think Serral's plan here kind of failed, honestly. It does not feel like he was very successful here whatsoever. Speed should start the moment the 100 gas is available, or maybe slightly after that third base. We'll have to wait and see exactly how Serral wants to figure that all out. Reaper will go straight across the map, maybe poke around. It's always a question, of course, what that Reaper will do, but does seem to be going straight across the map. He's going to see that delayed hatchery and should send this Reaper straight back home. No? Gonna stay around. This is ooh, triple marine here into factory, I think. So Byun is going to stay alive, trying to deal some damage with this Reaper as well. Ooh, Serral coming in with a drone pool does not quite get the surround though, and Serral losing a decent chunk of mining time, forced to build a Spore Queen, not yet there in the natural either. Byun's continuing to deal a lot of damage here. Serral actually struggling in this defense so far. Another grenade is a possibility. No, it's not quite going to hit that drone. This drone in a little bit of trouble. Byun stays alive with the Reaper. Fabulous Reaper control. And will be capable of going back home. He's floating 400 mineral-ish. Throws down a starport and most likely will start his first 2 cars relatively soon as well. So we will be heading into a 2-gas opener here for Byun. Rather than that quick triple CC, we'll be seeing some aggression coming out of him as a result. More Marines as well here being constructed. Almost feeling a Hellbat push here. I'm getting some serious Hellbat vibes. The continued Marine production is a rare thing to see, because every Marine that you produce means that your command center is getting delayed. So unless you want to do something with those Marines, it really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So double Hellions do pop out. Probably want to try and clear this Ling right now. No. Still staying at home. Reaper just died. Woof! Ooh, look at that. The feather still hitting the ground. That critter definitely got taken out by Serral. It really does feel like an armory. Here we go. Roach Warren is on the way. I think Serral is somewhat aware of this. He's gonna see the 4 Marines as well, and this should make the alarm bells ring. At least a little bit. Maybe not full force ringing, but maybe just a buzzing noise, you know? A vibrating noise of the alarm bells. Not sure if Serral is waking up yet. He hasn't built any roaches. Let's see what he's gonna do. Yeah, there we go. 5-6 roaches start immediately. Will not be in time though for this very quick push out. It's going to be 6 cars, 5 Marines, and 1 medevac, and that is one hell of a setup. Follow-up is going to be Banshee with Cloak. First roaches are about to pop out. These guys haven't quite turned into Hellbat yet, but after seeing the Roach Warren there, I think Byun is going to be pretty darn sad about this. He's like, well, this freaking sucks. This is pretty much a hard counter to what I was doing. Serral goes into a lair as well, so Serral is completely set up here, honestly. Third CC will go down on the high ground, but yeah, the pace of this game is so far in favor of Serral right now. There's really nothing that Byun can do with his cars anymore. It feels like these Banshees are a dead path as well. Like, he hasn't even really walked the path, but he can already see that it's not going to work out. Lair really quick. Queen count is still sufficient. Like, no queens got killed. Spores going down as well, so Serral is like uber prepared for this situation. And if Serral is uber prepared for something, he usually doesn't take a whole lot of damage. Is staying kind of low here on the worker count and is completely out of position with his roaches. That is a pretty major mistake here. That is a very major mistake. Oi, 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 oi. 10 drones going down. That is big. That is very, very big. Look at that. That should never have happened. Because he had the roaches and he knew Hellions were still on the map. He moves out for a bit of a fake attack. But Byun says, alright, if you're going to move out, I have Banshees at home. I could just run by with my cars. He's going to go for another run by. This one will be a lot less successful. It's just one car remaining as he hits these drones. Might get a single kill, but that's simply just not going to be good enough. Stimpack is about to finish up, and we have tanks as well in production, barracks 4 and 5. It still feels like Serral is ahead, but I think Byun might have given himself an opportunity to come back into this game. Ooh, double invisibility here. Let's take a look here. First person view out of Serral. Overseer flies in towards the main. Doesn't see a whole lot. He was in position with the Queens and the Overseer. Other two bases had Spore, so he was fairly safe no matter where they were going to go. But this probably was the ideal scenario. Fort base is on the way. It is late. It's a late fort base. And we have an infestation pit on the way already. So Serral most likely aiming here at a Hydra den and a relatively quick hive. Although in the past, I've seen him play this type of style with a Baling Nest as well. 1/1 upgrades initially, and then following it up with Carapace +2 and the melee upgrade level 1. Throwing down that Baling Nest, but that doesn't seem to be the case. No, we have a hive here. We do indeed see that Hydralisk den coming down as well, and a couple of infestors being added into the army comp. What are we seeing out of Byun? Byun's going up to 6 gases already. Holy cow. This is a man that loves his refineries. As these Banshees finding an angle. An odd angle that they're finding, but they are finding it, and that's what's important. 5, 6, 7 workers. No real damage. Don't think you want to dive any deeper here, but Byun believes different. He's gonna go in, and it's going to be spotted here by those Queens. Tries to go in towards the main base right now, but really, this is a dead end as well. It really is a dead end. 2 tanks, a bunch of Marines. Serral needs to be so darn careful. He doesn't actually have that many units. It's just 13 Roaches, 3 Ravagers, and 2 Infestors. Byun moving out with his entire tank count. Throws down a Fort Command Center as well, and wants to start setting up for probably a kind of a late game scenario here after he executes this 1-1 push. It starts with this 1-1 push, and then the question is, how are you going to follow this up? Sees the lack of a base here. It's like, well, if you're not even on 5 bases yet, maybe I should just be pissing off back home. And I kind of like the thought of that. It's going to siege up here in the middle. Slightly off creep. Ooh, Fungal connects in a big way with a lot of those Marines. Luckily, Combat Shield has finished up, but these tanks are most likely going to end up dying. And this fight could have been a lot better for Byun had that Fungal not connected with literally every single unit that he owned. Fort base is now saturating here for Serral. He's building 11 more Roaches as well. Lurker then has finished up, and Hive is also done. That means that Vipers could be produced. But we also, of course, have the option to get the Seismic Spines or the Adaptive Talents. We're starting here with the Seismic Spines. +2 range on the Lurker. And 2 upgrades. So that's where most of the money is currently going. It's really difficult for Zerg, even on 8 gas, which is a relatively high gas count, to afford everything Lurker related. Like your Hydras, your Lurkers, your upgrades, your Vipers, which are all kind of necessary if you're playing this composition. So it often feels like that if you don't get to those 10 gases quick enough, that Terran can just easily get to Ghost before you have everything ready, really for the fight. Oh, big Fungal once again hits. Ravager Bowels do not go down. That is actually a mistake here out of Serral. I think he definitely could have tried to match those up. As we now see these Medevacs heading back home, maybe trying to take out a couple of creep tumors here. Is this a command center? Yes. This is a command center turning into an orbital. That's what I meant, of course. Not a planetary. Beautiful play here out of Byun saying, hey, you're not getting a lot of links. And even if you do have links, they don't have attack damage. They don't have a lot of, they can't kill my SCVs quickly. So I can get away with building an orbital here because your run-bys are going to be absolutely garbage. And I get a little bit of extra money. Don't forget, Orbital Command provides 225 extra minerals a minute. So if you have it up for 3 minutes, you can basically afford a command center, including the next Orbital Command as well. So within 3 minutes, it truly does pay for itself. Now, here we do go. Whoop. Nice little splits for out of Byun, but those lurkers still, of course, something to be very mindful of. Once they burrow, I don't quite think you can walk in there. Is there a Ghost Academy yet? There's not a Ghost Academy. Byun just sticking to his guns here. His guns seem to be Marauders, Marines, and Medevacs, and more tanks. Maybe a third factory is something that is viable. I've seen Gumiho play that in the past. Third factory, adding in Liberator, but no. We do see the Ghost Academy going down, as well as the next two gases here. No fifth base on the way quite yet, and here comes a Lurker. Well, I was going to say a run by, but this is a straight up assault over here. Liberator is going to come in handy as Byun tries to drop on top of this, or well, tries. He drops on top of this. Is it going to be good enough, though? Goes in for the surround. Will take out all of these Lurkers, but loses some valuable tanks here. And here comes the follow-up attack out of Serral. Serral is on 88 workers, and that means that his army is relatively small. Triple tank stuck in the main base. 4 tanks stuck in the main base right now. They're in a terrible position. I don't think Byun is realizing this, that these tanks do not have a way out of the main. This depot needs to be lowered right now, or Byun might actually end up dying in a world's saddest game. Oh no, Byun, for the love of God, figure it out. They're in your control group. Liberators are sieging up, Ravager Biles hitting, connecting. This should have been so much better here for Byun. Still 5 tanks in the main base right now. Not a single one is showing up to the fight, and he must be wondering what in the world is happening with my tank production right now. Has he realized? No, he still hasn't realized. Lurkers are still inching forward now, trying to go up towards the natural perhaps even. As these tanks, oh my god, still not there. When is Byun going to figure it out? I want to be there when he does figure it out. We'll be in his first position view for now. Now this not being a planetary is actually kind of frustrating. Would have probably liked to have it there. Now he sees it. He's like, oh my god, you can't be serious. That's 7 tanks there. Those are my tanks. 7 tanks. And Serral's going to take a look at it. He's like, wait, do you have 7 factories? Or did you just forget to send them over? And it is the latter in this case, as these tanks now move forward, but there's not that many ground units anymore to support it. Still, Byun will get to hold on. But stuck on 4 bases, 72 workers rather than the 82, 83 workers he was on before. Has not quite been capable of, building up a decent ghost count. And I think, yeah, this will trigger the first few Vipers out of Serral. Byun is in some trouble, of course. Down about 50 supply. But his opponent's army composition is not a composition that necessarily translates into a very solid late game. And what I mean with this is that Lurker Roach often just ends up dying against Ghost Tank without getting any good trades whatsoever. Like the moment that the Terran here is stable, it's really difficult. Banelings really are the key in the late game majority of the time, and eventually into those Brute Lords. At least from my experience, at least. Here comes Cloak on the Ghost Academy. More and more Marines coming out. 3-3 finally starting as well for Byun, who's just trying to get into a more normal game, right? He just wants to have a normal life once more. It's like life before the Lurker assault and life after the Lurker assault. And it hasn't been the same for him. He's a recovering Terran. Absolutely. 50C now on the way. Hasn't been adding in any SCVs. And goes up to 7 ghosts for now. I think the moment you hit like 10, 11, 12 ghosts, that's the number where Lurkers just aren't scary anymore. We do have a Nidus on the way. So perhaps Lurkers could still be scary in the main base. That's a possibility. But Serral already is preemptively kind of transitioning out of it. He says, alright. My Lurkers have done their job. Resources lost is pretty decent. Worker count has been looking good. Income has been looking good for Serral. He's been mining a lot on the map here. He's already taken all of his bases, if you include this one. And could start working on his opponent's bases as well over here on the bottom side, because Byun isn't very close to taking that quite yet. Triple CC on the way. Bunker coming in as well, and Byun is really, truly bunkering up here. Trying to set up for a, I guess a super late game. Double Overseers in production. Bunker in the main base. Oh, it's for the Nidus. Very cool. I do like that. So here comes a rotation. These Marauders will take care of that Nidus. And this does absolutely nothing. So good scan here coming out of Byun. We'll take out one of those Hydras, making sure that nothing weird is burrowed there. An Infestor or a couple of Banes could be very hurtful, of course. We have another Knight is being built here, filled with Lurkers. Still have 8 Lurkers on the map. Serral does need to be careful that he doesn't kind of overcommit onto keeping those Lurkers alive. Because his actual army is really crap right now. Like let's face the truth here. Currently, Serral has 22 Banelings and 43 Lings, and that's it. Like that's really his army. Like these Lurkers against the Ghost should not be capable of doing anything. So yeah, if these Lurkers die pre-fight or they're not in a fight, I don't quite understand how Serral's planning on winning an actual fight. So right now the resource lost is not that bad for the Zerg player, but that could change very, very rapidly. Like a very short amount of time. However, this actually looks to be a pretty decent fight. There's only 2 tanks here. Ghost not all in position. Where's the rest of the army? Still on the bottom side. There's a couple of roaches here trying to take out these command centers. No cancel there. Do see a lift on this orbital command. And here come Byun's Ghost moving forward. Can he do something? Can he do something? Can these Banelings do something is the real question, perhaps. The answer to that is no. 21 workers will go down on the side of the Terran. As the Lurker's getting a fantastic trade. Way, way better than I think he ever should have. But half of the Ghosts, well, more like 75% of the Ghosts weren't there. But now there's no Overseer available. And that means that every single high-value unit is going to end up dying. Look at that. 3,500 resources. Almost 4,000 resources just going down there at an instant. 10 new Hydras, 2 new Vipers, 19 new Banelings. Does Byun have the balls to continue pushing forward right now and perhaps taking out a base? I think the answer is going to be no. I don't think he has the balls for that right now. Just does not have the tank backup to make that type of play. Uh-oh. This Infestor is looking for something. And I think he might just end up getting it. He's looking for a Neural. He's looking for a Neural. On those Ghosts and going for an EMP on those Ghosts as well. Here we go. Is it a Neural? No, oh my god. Tries to unburrow, go for the fungal, but doesn't quite get it. Vikings in the air trying to take care of these Overseers. This seems like an okayish fight here for Byun for now. Not the end of the world, at least. Planetary will get taken out, however, and also loses a lot of Ghosts. So maybe army value-wise, not the end of the world, but if we take a look at the assets left over and how much cash there's still in the bank for Serral, maybe this actually is pretty close to the actual end of the world. Random Planetary here sprawled in. A couple of tanks now making their way towards the top side of the map. As Serral has already started saturating this bottom side base. Would love to see a couple of extractors being taken on both of these bases just to try and get it going. Knight is gonna get taken out. I think Serral wants to expand here as well. Take away as many minerals from his opponent as possible. Byun absolutely fantastic in these late games. Has taken out Zerg players in similar situations to this, where he seemed pretty dead and then just stayed around and eventually makes it a split map scenario. And no matter what you think about Terran in the late game, they're always going to be trading better. In the resources lost, big EMPs hitting. That means not a single Blinding Cloud is going to be available. There's so many tanks here. Can Serral really do this? This was once again a fight for Serral where he does get to kill a lot of things, but a bunch of Ghosts stayed alive. This time, I feel like more tanks got taken out. Mule stayed alive as well, which is a huge deal. Look at the mineral income here. That means loads and loads of Marines can be produced at the same time. We have a turret coming in. Now, turrets have 2 uses. One for spotting burrowed infestor, but also zoning out Vipers. It's a great tool for that. Absolutely marvelous tool for that. We do have a Ling run by here heading towards the bottom side. I don't quite think Byun is ready for that yet. Needs to send over a couple of Marines here. Can we get a lift on this orbital commands? No, we can't. These Marines are doing a fantastic... these Lings doing a fantastic job. 99 workers still for Serral. And that pretty much says that Serral believes that he can continue bumping his head into this position and actually get good engagements. Let's see if he can do that indeed. Liberators putting in a lot of work. This was not a good trade here for Serral. This was a pretty atrocious trade, actually. He hardly killed... I think he killed like a tank. A tank and 6 Marines, maybe. He lost a lot of units there. I'm starting to become afraid for Serral, because if he continues bumping into his opponent like this again and again and again, then I think potentially he's just going to bleed out more and more resources. Yes, he is mining his opponent's resources, but I think that Byun has plans to at least take this base out. And once Byun maxes out, this base is also toast. So then you're still going to be eventually working with a split map scenario. It's not necessarily about what's happening now. It's about what's going to happen in the future. A couple of drones are being sniped down. Marines are in position now to deal with some of these drones. We get the lift up and most likely a drop down later on again. Hellbats moving into position. Don't forget, Hellbats with +3 and with Blue Flame should be capable of one-shotting links. If I recall correctly. I'm not entirely sure what the interaction is again. Maybe just +3 Hellbats are good enough. I do think you need Blue Flame actually for it. It's a crazy interaction. Just absolutely destroying everything with their splash in that case. Now this base is going to get taken out. This topside base is a little bit vulnerable as a result. And I think Byun might have actually overstepped ever so slightly. I think he realized as well and he's trying to go back home. Yes, there's a lot of tanks here, but is that really enough? Serral snaking around here. With this, oh my god. This infestor's gonna try to take over this tank, will not quite make it. Here come a couple of blinding clouds, Lings and Banes moving forward. Command center gets killed, no cancel. Command center gets nothing. Stays alive for now, temporarily. Resources lost 37 to 47k. And here comes the move out that I've been talking about. Not so sure if this is actually possible right now. I don't feel like there's enough tanks here yet. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Here comes... Yep, the Neural. Oh, kind of misses the EMP though. Hits his own tanks and managed to hit one more ghost. But that's not enough. These ghosts actually moving very far forward. Oh, Marine gets Neural. Accidental Marine Neural. Serral with a mistake. Oh no. That is not correct. That actually was probably pretty impactful. If he gets a ghost there and EMPs all the other ghosts, at least they can't cloak anymore. Still okay-ish fight. As long as the resources lost stay this close, I think Serral will be fine. He's still continuing to mine from this bottom side. And don't forget that Byun is actually running out of cash. Only on 66 workers right now. Has even lost his Ghost Academy. I didn't realize that. So he's trying to expand at a high pace because he needs money and he needs gas. But he can't really afford to defend all of these positions. And he also really can't afford to get his army back. So feels like Byun slowly but surely is bleeding out. Nidus network is being constructed here on the bottom side as 5 tanks are now moving towards the top. This bottom side is just being deserted. Byun says, hey, I don't give a crap about that base anymore. But I think that is incorrect. I don't think Byun can do that. He's just putting all of his eggs in one basket right now, and that basket is the 12 o'clock. Blinding Cloud's not quite connecting. Tanks weren't sieged up yet, but still going to be capable of dealing a lot of damage. Look at this fight. Absolutely phenomenal here for Byun. When it comes to the resources lost, another +2k, +3k fight. The problem is he's completely out of cash. So despite these being efficient fights, they're not actually that good. They're not that good at all. Serral's going to be setting up for what seems to me like it will be kind of the final attack now. There's just not a lot of ghosts anymore. Yes, there's still 8 tanks, which is a lot. There's a couple of liberators. This position is hard to hold. You can really come in from two angles. Link's now moving towards the left side. Not a single unit available to defend this. But this is going to get taken out. Orbital Command's perhaps in a little bit of trouble as well. Yeah, this orbital will get lifted here. Yeah, look at it. Poof. Even the splash takes it out once you have the blue flame. It just legit one-shots everything. Hellbats are crazy like that. Such an efficient unit in the late game. Such an efficient unit. Here comes the double neurals on the tanks. As Serral marches in and will most likely finish the game over here. Hydras take out the Liberators. GG gets called and Serral wins this fabulous game here on Babylon. Byun tried to hang in there, but it did not quite work out. And that, my dear friends, is going to be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy this game. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Bye bye.